Hello, welcome. This is How I Make a Living as an Artist by me, Trisha Adams. I have been an oil painter for 23 years and I live in Virginia, near DC. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, or my website, which is trishaadams.com. Since 2008, I have grossed $100,000 per year, mainly from art sales. And I'm going to explain to you how this is possible, and maybe you can try it too. So to sell art, you need three things. You need to make art that people want. You need to put it in front of people who want to buy it. And three, you need to make it easy for people to buy. This is referred to as a three-legged stool because you need all three legs or else it just falls over and it doesn't work. The first leg of the stool is to make art that people want. Sometimes the hard truth is the art isn't selling because it doesn't connect with anyone. Others can offer you suggestions about your art, but ultimately you have to decide what art you love that maybe other people would love too. Sometimes though, it isn't that the art isn't beautiful and exciting. It's that it hasn't sold because it's not in front of the right people. And in this case, the artist may erroneously think that their artwork is undesirable when that's not the problem at all. So for the purpose of our discussion, let's assume that you make art that people love and focus on the other two legs. In 2018, a surprising thing happened. I made an extra or 29,000 more than I did the last year. And I kind of wondered well, I didn't work harder. I'm always working hard. So I dug deeper to find out what happened differently that year. And it was, I'd been in Naples, Florida gallery that had a rule that you could not have any prices on your website or anywhere on social media or your blog or anything. And I wanted to be there because I thought it was, a beautiful gallery in a pretty upscale place. After the gallery closed though, I went back and I put prices and e-commerce on my website. And this simple change of adding prices and buy now buttons resulted in the additional $29,000. I had made it easy for people to buy. So the moral of that story is you really should have prices and add to cart buttons on your website and your artwork. Some artists can say, email me if you're interested, but the problem is requiring people to ask for the price is a hassle for them. And some don't even bother to write you an email, and others will ask, but then have lost interest by the time you answer them. And this unnecessary emailing back and forth takes up your valuable time. You don't want to spend your time doing that if you don't have to. So another thing that is a detriment is when you send collectors to another website to purchase. And it can vary with, circumstances, but generally every time they have to make another click to purchase, you lose 30% of those people. And I'm thinking in particular about Artwork Archive, because I noticed on some artist website that it says, go to our artist archive to buy this. And then when you click on that, if they've given you a click place, then it doesn't go directly to that painting. It went to the whole page and you had to dig through and try to find it. So just throwing that out. As few clicks as possible really help. Okay, this is another thing, which is give your buyers enough information to decide. So I was on a forum And one of the artists there was like, I need to know how to block somebody. This guy is driving me crazy. Every time I put up a painting, he asks me how much it is. And then he wants to know what the story is about the painting. And then what about the frame? And he just asks a million questions. The artist dutifully answers all the questions, but then the man didn't buy it. And every time he put up a new painting, the process was repeated. But the thing about this annoying guy was that he was asking the questions that everybody has. Instead of banning people who want more information, give them the information up front by posting the price, the backstory, the framing, the shipping, and the link where they can just buy it, all right there with the painting. So then the next time you hear anything about that painting, it will be a sold notice. I also recommend free shipping. People love free shipping, including me. They don't mind spending money on a beautiful painting, but they do mind spending money on shipping. I have a little snippet here from what's called the Hiscox Art Trend Survey, and they found that of people who said they were hesitant to buy art online, 70% would be more likely to buy if there was free shipping. And I think of it this way. When I did do galleries, I don't do anymore, but when I did, I always had to pay to ship it to the gallery. So paying to ship it to the customer was already an expense that I had factored into that. I recently was looking at my friend's website and I said, oh, you really should put a picture of yourself on the front page. And she said, well, it's not really about me. It's about the art. And I used to feel this way too, but I've come to realize that collectors do care who created the art. If they didn't care, they may as well purchase AI art, right? It's all about a personal connection. Allow the collector to get to know you, and he or she will be more comfortable with the purchase. You may have heard that people like to buy from people they know, like, and trust. So that's part of what you're trying to do, is let them know you, like you, hopefully, and trust you. So, and the way I also deal with trust is I offer a 30-day money-back guarantee. If they don't like the painting, I will take it back. It hasn't happened yet, but I feel that makes them more comfortable buying online and from me. So we've been talking about making it easy for them to purchase, and all these things are on your website. That's where they purchase. So your website should do 4 things, which is let the visitor get to know you, answer their questions, like, hey, this is what it looks like in the frame. Here's a picture of that, and this is where I was when I painted it, or whatever. And then make it easy for them to buy, so that it has a little buy now button. And also, it should offer a way for them to stay in touch, because not everyone who visits your website is ready to purchase right then, but they are interested in you. So hopefully you can encourage them to sign up for your newsletter. So now we're going to talk about the audience. That was make it easy to buy. We're moving on to audience. Traditionally, artists have relied on galleries to provide the audience and put their art in front of collectors. And, well, let's go through, what do you think the advantages of selling through a gallery would be? I'll let you put some things in the chat, and then I'll give you 3 reasons. Well, one is they have cultivated a group of collectors who buy art. So they'll be able to put it in front of people who like to buy art. The gallery also lends an air of approval or prestige. You've been, it's not easy to get into a gallery, so that is a badge. And then what they've always said is now you can focus on creating and not marketing. So, what would you say are the disadvantages of selling through a gallery? And I'll give you some time to type that into the chat. Well, I'm sure this is the top answer. They take 50% of what it sells for, or more sometimes. The gallery controls whether the artist's work sells, not the artist. So you're not really in as much control of your life and your success if you've delegated it. And here's an interesting one, which is they own the collector, not you. And the reason why that's important is because that collector is exponentially more likely to buy more of your art after buying one. So the reason why in 2018 I made significantly more money when I added e-commerce is because when you sell directly, you make twice as much money as when selling through a gallery. And I would argue that you actually make more than twice, because your expenses always come out of that first half. Your framing, your shipping, your materials, your overhead, all that comes out of the first half that you were getting from the gallery. And so if you sell it yourself, you're making more than the first half. So if it's always been done through a gallery, why is all of a sudden we can sell directly? Well, because everything changed. The internet and social media make it really easy for artists to find and cultivate an audience. And even before the pandemic, but especially now, collectors are comfortable purchasing paintings online. And the example here is this painting sold to someone on Instagram for $3,100. One of the first paintings I sold on Instagram was $4,000 to somebody in Austria. So serious collectors do buy on social media and on the internet. So let me give you some reasons why you should consider selling your art directly as opposed to the traditional gallery model. First one, you make twice as much money. Second one, your cash flow is improved. Third, you are in charge of your destiny. You decide when things are marketed, you make sure that things go out and are seen. And you know who your collectors are, and you can sell to them over and over and over. And I said before, they are exponentially more likely to purchase art than people who haven't. So, what are the reasons there's going to be resistance here? So, what are the reasons that artists give for not leaving their gallery? So, I'm going to let you type in the chat a little bit and tell me if you don't want to leave your gallery, what reason do you put forth? Well, one is it's a prestigious gallery, and I feel that it makes me proud to be there. And I do understand that. It's expensive, but I understand it. Another way of addressing that same need to have social proof is social media. If you have, if you're popular on social media, that convinces everyone that sees it that your art is wonderful. All right, so go on. Another one that I heard was they are friends with the gallery owner, and they don't want to hurt their feelings, or they feel that gallery needs them to make a go of things. So I don't know. Well, you have to decide for yourself on that one. Okay, another thing that people say is, well, I really don't like to do marketing. I don't like social media, and I don't want to do it. So I would rather the gallery do it. The truth is that the galleries pick artists based on their social media and marketing nowadays. So I don't know if you can really get away from doing those things. And then the fourth one is, hey, I don't even know if that's going to work for me. So what should I do? Well, I suggest trying baby steps. One way of starting off is to offer your small works only through your website and not through galleries. And, one of my galleries was like, hey, what are you doing there? And I was like, look, these are small works. They're not priced very high. And I don't even, you wouldn't even make very much money if we are splitting this. So just, this is what I'm going to do. These small ones are going to go through right from my website. Another way you could start small is you could offer your new works for directly from you in your newsletter. So send them out in a newsletter and then put them on social media and wait like 1 or 2 weeks and see if it sells right away. If it doesn't sell, then ship it off to the gallery. Or this baby step, you could put a thing on your websites offering to do commissions, assuming you like them. And you set up a page explaining the process and, a little contact form or whatever. So there's some food for thought on those. Now, what is your strategy for your audience? Well, is it to have a huge Facebook following and a huge Instagram following? I don't know. I do those two things in order to build my newsletter, because that is the method of communication that I control. And like when I send something out on a newsletter, it goes to my entire group and not a subset. So I'll talk about that in a minute. So why is adding them to your newsletter the ultimate goal? It's because you control your newsletter. If social media algorithms change, you can find yourself cut off from your entire fan base or needing to pay to reach them. So what social media should you use? Instagram and Facebook. And here's a chart from this company out in UK called Hiscox, and they do an art trend survey every year, and it's for the previous year. This chart tells you how many people look on Instagram for art, and then on Facebook, and then Twitter and YouTube. And you can see that Instagram is the highest, but followed pretty closely by Facebook. So I recommend those two social medias. And when you do post on Instagram, there's a little button to share on Facebook as well. Go ahead and make sure that's clicked, because when I looked at my two audiences, it showed that only 16% of the two audiences overlapped. That means they're really totally different groups. And so I'm reaching way more people by hitting both. And I get sales from both. So you may be wondering, how do you get followers on Instagram? Well, it's all about engagement, as you might have guessed. So what counts as engagement? Likes, comments, and that includes your comments too. So when people comment to you, you should comment back. Shares, bookmarks, or saves, those little, that's pretty cool. And something called dwell time. Dwell time is how long someone looks at your post. So if you want someone to look at your post a little longer, it's really helpful if there's a caption, and maybe even a long caption. While you're at it, ask them a question, because then they might put the answer in the comment. So when you post to Instagram, unlike your newsletter, this is how it works. Instagram sends out a test which is a subset of your followers, maybe like 100 or something. And if people comment and like and look at it and whatever, save it, they say, oh, well, that's a good one. And then they send out the same, but they push it out to more people, and they keep doing this. And once they've decided that your post is something that people like, they will put it on the Explore page. And that is like the little brass spring that you're reaching out to grab, because that's where the new people are going to come from, the Explore page. So you can see on this right here that I had a big share on the Explore, and you can't see it, it's under my little face here. There were a lot of followers that resulted from that. So how do you get people to sign up for the newsletter? Because that's what we're really trying to do. Well, you can ask them, especially if they are talking about your art and wanting to keep in touch. That's an obvious, let me put you on my newsletter. Another thing you can do, because some people are like, well, I could just see it all on Instagram or Facebook. If you give them an advantage to being in the newsletter, and the ones that I use are artwork shows up in the newsletter and on my website before it goes to social media, and workshops are announced, and people on there get first sign up over social media. Oh, your collectors, anybody who's bought a painting from you, go back through your records, put them on your newsletter, because these are the people that will buy more art. So how often should you send it out? Well, I aim for once a month, and I've actually been doing a little bit more than that now. You want to try to keep it consistent, in that one time early on, I think I let it go like 6 months. And then when I did send one out, a bunch of people marked me as spam. So because they forgot that they'd signed up. So don't let that happen to you. And a tip about the newsletter is you write it as if you're writing to your friends, and not like an advertisement at all, or like from a business. Just say, when I heard that, I took my logo off the top of my newsletter, and I just started with the words, and I just have my signature at the bottom. That's an idea. So, your newsletter. I was telling someone that they should do a monthly newsletter, and they were like, oh my gosh, that's too much work. How about once a quarter? And I'm like, how about every other month? But the truth is that once you get going with your newsletter, you will find that, oh, wow, I just made a sale. You'll notice that there's a relationship between sending out the newsletter and making sales, and then you'll want to hopefully do it. So it's slow going in the beginning, probably. Keep the faith, just do it. It's actually, I kind of enjoy it, like it's, oh, look what I've, done this month. I've painted all this. That's cool. So I enjoy just sort of taking stock anyway. It doesn't need to be War and Peace. It's not, some people think it has to be something epic, but it can be very simple. Just like, hey, here's a postcard from my studio. This is the painting I just did. If you click on it, you end up at the place where you can see it on my website and buy it. And here's why I painted it. Put a couple lines about it. So now we're ready for the summary. To sell more art, you need 3 things. Make art that people want. Put it in front of the people who want it. And make it easy for them to buy. Thanks.